Alrighty, thank you everyone for tuning in today. So I am so excited to welcome back Chris Woolsey, the Senior Director of Communications for Chicken Soup for the Soul Entertainment. Today we are going to be talking about all things Redbox and the new movies and shows that you can stream for free on the streaming service. So thanks as always for being with us today, Chris.
Matt, are you kidding me? This is the highlight of my week. Thank you so much for having me and coming on and talking all things Redbox.
Hey, always happy to talk all things Redbox. I walk past a Redbox every time I go into my local CVS. And I stream it on my Roku. So couldn't be better.
Excellent. Yep. So, most people know us from the over 32,000 kiosks around the country where you can obviously rent physical DVDs and take those home and watch them. Right now, we've got Cocaine Bear is doing ridiculously well for a ridiculous movie. We've got obviously Top Gun Maverick is still killing it on the charts. And then you can also go to redbox.com and you can rent things that have just come out of the theaters, or in some cases are actually still in the theaters. So like right now you can get advanced screenings of like Super Mario Brothers movie. And then on top of that, you rightly mentioned that like Crackle, they also have a free streaming service as well with thousands of movies and TV shows that folks can watch for free by either downloading the app from their favorite app store and watching on their tablet, their mobile device, their desktop, laptop, connected TV, or go to redbox.com and you can cast to any device. But we've got a ton of okay, so I always try and find a theme every month when you and I talk, and the theme this month is taut. We've got a lot of taut tension action titles on Redbox. The one that I teased last month that I can finally talk about. I'm super excited. On the 13th of June, we are dropping the Nicolas Cage horror film Willies Wonderland.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah,
I love Nicolas Cage.
Oh man, I always say Nicolas Cage is kind of like pizza. Even when he's bad, he's still pretty good, And this one is awesome. This is Nick Cage at his most Nick Cage-ness. So he plays a hapless drifter. I know you're shocked, but he plays a hapless drifter who gets hired to clean up this defunct theme park called Willies Wonderland. And it's only when he's locked inside that he realizes he's not there to clean up. He's actually there to get cleaned up, because the animatronic robots, which used to be part of the theme-going experience, are now possessed and bloodthirsty, and he has been sent in as a human sacrifice to appease these monsters. Okay. And so he has to band together with this tribe of teenagers who have also hopped the fence and got trapped inside in order to fight off the creatures and survive to fight another day. It is super fun.
Sounds kind of like Five Nights at Freddy's. So
very similar. They beat them to the punch in terms of getting that out to market. And it's really it's fun. And if you're a fan of Nick Cage and fights, this is a Cage fight that you will not soon forget.
Yeah, I mean, those animatronic things from Chuck E. Cheese and that kind of thing, it's always creeped me out. So that sounds like
me both, man. Yeah, we've got this great picture of my son when he was like 5, and he's playing one of those racing games, and Chucky's looking in one side of the racing game, and my son is screaming at the top of his lungs inside. It's kind of hilarious.
Yeah, yep. I have both a niece and a nephew who have been a Chucky at a Chuck E. Cheese. So
that's kind right.
of sort of a relevance to my family, although they did not scare anyone, at least intentionally. So
Awesome. Well, speaking of scares and thrills, we also have a great indie thriller called Girl, which is starring Bella Thorne. And this one is fantastic. Bella Thorne plays a young woman who is traveling back to the small town where she grew up in order to confront her horribly abusive father. She arrives only to discover that someone beat her to the punch, or punches as the case may be, because dad is now deceased and somebody has murdered him. And as she's digging in and investigating this, she finds out that dad is not the only bad apple in his family, and she decides that it's time for her to clean house. So if you like girl-powered action films, this one is really great. The reviews were through the roof. I think it's her finest performance. And yeah, it's a good one. You definitely want to check that out.
Yeah, sounds intense, but definitely it sounds like a good one.
It is. And another good one we have. So I think we've talked about this before. I am a gigantic Lord of the Rings fan, and we have a feature starring Sean Bean from Lord of the Rings. And this one's interesting. It's a period action film that takes place during the first wave of the bubonic plague in the Middle Ages, which is very specific, but it's fantastic. It's called Black Death, fitting. And Sean Bean plays a monk who has been tasked by the powers that be to go in searching for this small remote village in the hinterlands where apparently victims of the plague are being brought back from the dead.
Oh.
And it's super jump scary. It's Sean Bean's performance is spectacular, and I think you're really gonna like this one.
Yeah. We've got the actor from Fantastic Beasts as well, so
yes,
quite a cast there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great. And then just to keep the tension going, we've got a great movie called Tyrell, and this is kind of in the same vein as Get Out. It's one of those films that you're watching it and you're like, I don't quite know what's going on here, but I'm pretty sure this is not going to end well for anybody involved. It's really good. Jason Mitchell from Straight Outta Compton plays the main character, whose name is Tyler, not Tyrell, but he gets invited on a all-white guys romance weekend to a cabin out in the middle of the woods. And these guys think it's funny to refer to him as Tyrell rather than his actual name, Tyler. And it's just one of those scenes. I think it's a great film because it speaks a lot to the insidiousness and sort of the casualness that racism can creep into our relationships. And it's just one of those films that every scene they just sort of crank up the tension a little more, and you just see relationships building and things moving into place, and you're by the end of the film, you're on the edge of your seat, and you just wish somebody would come in and take him away. It's fantastic. I highly recommend Tyrell.
Yeah, it sounds kind of like Get Out, where it's scary but it's thought provoking. So lots going on there.
Definitely. And then we've got a little bit of a throwback. I don't know about you, but I am a gigantic Gary Oldman fan. And we have one of his first films, Romeo is Bleeding, which is it's a great tense thriller. He plays a crooked cop, which he often does, and does it better than anyone else, I think. And he gets into a relationship with a sadistic hit woman who kind of lures him into a trap of deceit that he's going to have a tough time getting out of. I don't want to spoil it. I'm not that guy, but it's also stars Lena Olin from Hunters. It was great. It was a big hit in the late 80s, and Romeo is Bleeding. Check this one out. It's a great example of 80s thrillers.
Okay, gotcha. Like Gary Oldman. I always associate him with Commissioner Gordon. So
Absolutely. He is my favorite, Commissioner Gordon.
yeah,
Yeah, he's fantastic. I love him in The Professional. I think is probably my all-time favorite role of his. But
still haven't seen that one. It's on my
oh
list.
my gosh, Matt, you've
I
got
know.
homework before we talk next time. You
Well, every
must
month
see.
after this chat, I'm almost like, man, I got
Oh
movies to
man,
watch
it's
now.
probably one of my top five action films of all time. I
Hmm.
love Jean Reno is just unbelievable, and of course Natalie Portman, her performance is kind of the thing of legend from
Hmm.
that film. She was like 14 years old and
Yeah,
just lit up the screen like Fourth of July.
I always
It was
hear people
great.
talk about that one, so
Yep. All right, I want a
gotta
full
watch it.
report next time we talk.
Yeah,
And
after
then
Romeo's
we've got
bleeding.
even the rom-coms that we have this month, even those have tension built into them.
Hmm.
So we've got a really fun one called A Guy Thing,
Hmm.
and this is starring Jason Lee. Jason Lee is getting ready to get married. He's a good guy, wants to do the right thing, wants to be a good husband, is excited for marriage, and goes out on his bachelor party before the marriage, and he wants to keep it clean, but as these things often do, his bachelor party kind of goes sideways. He wakes up the next morning in bed with Julia Stiles
Hmm.
and doesn't quite know what happened, doesn't know why he's there, and she doesn't remember either. And so he gets up, runs off. Selma Blair is his fiance, and he shows up, and lo and behold, Julia Stiles is actually Selma Blair's cousin.
Okay,
So there is a little bit of tension going on there,
lots
but
of
it's
twists
super
and turns.
funny. What's that?
Lots of twists and turns there.
Yes, absolutely. And Jason Lee's always utterly watchable. Actually, all of those are great. So yeah, check that one out if you want some chuckles and a little tension thrown in there as well.
Cool.
We also have a great drama called Nobody Walks, and this is starring John Krasinski,
Hmm.
and he plays he's a high paid sound engineer in the entertainment industry,
Hmm.
and his wife, played by Rosemary DeWitt from La La Land,
Hmm.
asks him to do her a favor and help a young film student with her senior thesis.
Hmm.
That student is played by Olivia Thirlby from Juno, and it's kind of about the complexities of marriage
Hmm.
and just how challenging it can sometimes be to keep those relationships as strong as they have to be. It's really good. Krasinski's performance is spectacular, and if you're just looking for a good character driven drama, but again with tension,
Hmm.
um, Nobody Walks will not disappoint.
Yeah, Krasinski, I mean, he's one of those actors, so many people associated him with The Office, but just to see where his career took off and, the range that he's had, it's been really incredible to see that.
Isn't it crazy? I know.
Mm.
Like I would never have pegged him for a dramatic actor because he's
Hmm.
just so good in The Office, and yet he's spectacular, which is interesting because the exact same thing happened with the same exact well, not same exact actor, but the actor who played the same character in the British version of The Office,
Mm.
Martin Freeman, who is like
Oh, okay.
comedically brilliant in the British Office, and you can't imagine that he would ever play a dramatic character. And
Mm.
yet in Sherlock, he's genius. He's also in Startup, which is a Crackle original
Mm.
series, and he plays a corrupt FBI agent and just does so masterfully.
Mm.
It just goes to show good actors are good actors, whether they're doing comedy or drama or somewhere in the middle.
Yeah. I don't think I realized he was on the British version of The Office. I've never actually seen that one, so
Oh, it's so
fun
good. It's
fact.
so good. Yeah,
Yeah,
you've got another one added to the list.
I know. So many.
Yep, yep. And then to carry on with the kind of relationship rom-coms, we've got Drinking Buddies, which is
Mm.
star-studded. We've got Olivia Wilde from Babylon, Ron Livingston from Band of Brothers, and Anna Kendrick. And this
Mm.
is a relationship movie about two couples who hang out and drink. And as young people who spend a lot of time in bars, sometimes the best choices are not made. And again, it shows the complexity of relationships and the difficulties of sometimes keeping those relationships healthy, especially when outside stimulants are thrown into the equation. But great performances. Anna Kendrick. I'm super fan 99. I love everything she does. And I think this is one of Olivia Wilde's best movies as well. So really interesting one.
Yeah, cool. So definitely a lot to check out this month on Redbox, as always. Gotta love Redbox. You can get the DVDs, you can pay to download stuff, or you can watch stuff for free. So kind of your one-stop shop for a lot of great movies and entertainment.
That's it. Absolutely. We want to help consumers stretch that entertainment budget, especially given the economic times that we find ourselves in right now.
Yep. I love a good free movie, so I've always said the best price is free 99.
That's what I'm talking about. Amen. Absolutely. Well, Matt, thank you so much for having me on. It's always a ridiculous pleasure.
Yep. Thanks for being here, Chris. And as always, thanks for tuning in.